Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Look, I'm going to talk to you about Navy Federal's pledge loan hack and how it can help you get your credit score up over 100 points by adding some other things. Now, first thing I want you all to understand with Navy Federal pledge loans, it has nothing to do with helping you qualify for a personal loan. The main purpose of Navy Federal's pledge loan is to help with your internal score so that you can qualify for credit cards. It has nothing to do with helping you qualify for a personal loan. That's one thing I want you to understand. Now, in terms of people always talking about the Navy Federal Pledge Loan hack, and for some of you that may not be a member of Navy Federal and you're trying to join and you're trying to see how it can benefit you, basically you have money in a savings account and you want to pledge that as a loan, and what they do is take the money out of your savings account and they put it in a pledge loan, give it back to you, and basically you pay down 80 to 90% of the loan. And then when you pay down the 80, 90% of the loan, what ends up happening, the remaining of the loan spreads out anywhere from 24 to 60 months. You do not want to close the loan out, all right? You do not want to close it out. You can spread it out from 24 to 60 months. Now, here's the thing about it so that you can understand. When you're paying it down to 80, 90%, to the understanding, many people expect for their credit score to jump up, right? But here's what happened. If you have more negative items on your credit file, it won't impact the credit that much. However, it will help you with your internal score with Navy Federal. And let me explain in terms of the internal score so that you can understand. You have a loan with them, so now they trust you. But in terms of the internal score going from 100 to 450, all right, the best way to do that, and I'm also tell you how to join if you can't become a member through military. So hold on one moment. So you have a pledge loan. If you are able to do a direct deposit, now for those of you that are self-employed, 1099, and you want to do direct deposit with Navy Federal, what you would have to do, you would have to structure a business and then have that business pay you. If you need help with that, click the link in the description because it's very important in reference to helping making sure you're getting over $100,000 in funding. And this is one of the reasons a lot of people, they can't get that $50,000, $100,000 in funding if they're working as a 1099. Going back to what I'm saying, the key elements to getting a good internal score with Navy Federal, okay? Because Navy Federal, they don't really reflect as much on a personal credit as the internal score because they really personalize the relationship. So that's something that you have to understand. That being said, if you have direct deposit, when you open up the checking account, if you're able to do the flagship checking account, helps. Then with the savings account, like I said, if you have the pledge loan, then you have the end reward. Talking about the end rewards. Also, if you have a business and you open up a business checking account, now one of the key things to doing that, you have to make sure that you're choosing a friendly NAICS code. So you don't want to choose a high-risk NAICS code to open up your business with Navy Federal, because if you do that, what ends up happening, they may not even open up the account. They'll tell you the business is too risky. All right, so that's just plain. All right, now another key element, especially when you're trying to get funding with Navy Federal, is in terms of getting their secured card, especially when you have a low credit score. Okay, when you have a low credit score, the reason you want this end rewards card, and as you can see here, as low as $200, because after good payments for at least 6 months, that credit card actually will convert. And it will convert, the end rewards credit card will convert to this here, the cash rewards, okay? And usually, so it usually converts to like a $2,000 cash rewards card. Now here's another thing you have to understand, that if you've had the end rewards for 6 months and it hadn't converted, you need to check through the app to see has it converted. okay? Because some people say, well, I done had this thing over a year and it ain't converted. Then you also have to look at what else have you done to your credit, because that's another key thing. If you're steady putting negative items on the credit file and Navy Federal see that you have, you have a negative balance with your checking account with Navy Federal, that will stop them from converting that end rewards card over to a regular credit card, over to the cash rewards. And many people are not aware of that. So that itself can actually delay you from actually converting over. So that's one thing you also have to take into consideration that people don't talk about. Now, that being said, you have the end rewards, you have the pledge loan, all right, you have the direct deposit, and you may have, like I said, a business checking account or another CD or money market account. Like I said, that's going to help you with your internal score. Now, with your internal score being about 325, and depending on the history, again, this is another thing. The reason that a lot of people can't get that conversion is because they may not have a long enough history with Navy Federal. So where I talk about people with a 580 credit score and they have a long history, maybe a year, and they're giving them a $25,000 credit card. A lot of people don't understand it, but you have to understand, if they have direct deposits and they're always utilizing their accounts and they're keeping their accounts in good standing and stuff like that, they will give you high limit, even though you may have bad credit. Okay, so there's multiple factors that go into this. All right, now, that being said, one other thing I want to address, because some people say, well, how many pledge loans do I have to have? You only need one pledge loan. Okay, so by you having 2 and 3 pledge loans on the credit file, that's not going to impact your credit. Okay, long as you have one installment loan on your credit file, that helps balance out the file with other revolving accounts on the file. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, here's something I do want to address, and this here is Credit Strong. I know a lot of people, they've been getting Credit Strong because Credit Strong offers high installment loans, right? As you can see here, they go from $2,500 up to $5,000, right? And you can see how much they're charging a month. Here's the challenge with that. Say that you want a $25,000 installment loan. What ends up happening, and so that you can see what I'm saying, it hurts your DTI, your debt to income ratio. So if you're trying to get like a mortgage or something like that, a lot of people get this here because they want to try to get a car loan, or they're trying to get a higher limit loan. But what it ends up doing, when you do it this way, they put that installment loan on your credit file and you're paying $400 a month. Now, you don't push your debt to income ratio up, all right? And you have to keep in mind, by you doing this, especially with banks and credit unions, all right? With banks and credit unions, what ends up happening, if your DTI is over that 50-55% threshold, then you're going to get denied anyway. That's what people are not aware. I'm not saying this is a bad product. But when you're trying to prove that you are a person that has good history, good credit and stuff like that, when you do something like that and it's only just showing a payment and it's actually not giving you a real benefit, you're only hurting your DTI, okay? So just keep that in mind. I don't know if any of you all are aware of that, but I tell it to my clients all the time when I see this on their credit report. When you do that 5,000, it's okay. But when you get to this 10 and 25,000, trust me, you're gonna hurt your DTI, okay? Even at the $5,000 level, you still can hurt your DTI depending on how many open revolving accounts you have, all right? So just keep that in mind. But with you having a Navy Federal pledge loan, you don't need this here product. Okay, so just so that you know, if you have the Navy Federal pledge loan, then you don't need the Credit Strong product. Okay, now that being said, For those of you that don't have anybody military related, then what you can do, if you have a roommate that shares the same address with you, then, and they are a member of Navy Federal are flexible enough that they will allow you to come in like that. Now, if you have, like, say that your parent or grandparent served in the military but they're dead, then you would need to provide your DD-214, their DD-214, in order to join, okay? So even if they're a deceased member, they still will let you join if they served in the military. All right. So just keep that in mind. That being said, again, trying to help you get your credit score up, not only just to get your credit score up, but to also put you in a position to where you're getting access to more funding, especially like if you have multiple negative accounts, you have to add more positive trade lines to that. Okay. Now, one of the things that goes into questions, people always ask, well, if I have a negative account on my credit file, say that I have a charge-off account on my credit file and it's less than $1,000, should I pay it? I always tell people, if it's less than $1,000, pay the man. The reason is sometimes when we challenge negative items off of our credit, what ends up happening, it may take us maybe 90 days to six months, right? However, if it's a collection account, now if it's a dead collection account and it's past statutes, then yes, absolutely challenge that. But if it's a recent collections or charge off or whatever, and you have the means to pay it, it's better to pay it so that it can go to zero, unless you do a 1099-C. Right? Cancellation of debt. So if you're not able to pay it, you want to request through the collection department a 1099-C so you can count it as income on your taxes. So that's the thing about it, right? So you can get out of paying it if you don't have the means, but that's through a 1099-C. I hope that this is some valuable information. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. So let's keep going, right? Because there's something else I have to show you. Now, here's the thing about it. If you have direct deposits, okay, then what you can do, again, talking about adding positive trade lines, like this is extra, okay, and it's an app, and they report to Experian and Equifax, right? So long as you have direct deposit as a trade line, all right? Now, that's good, especially if you have bad credit and you're rebuilding your credit. That's exactly. So as you can see here, this is how it works, all right? So it's all online, right? So all of your debit card transactions and stuff, they report that. Credit.ai. Now, Credit.ai, they're the ones that give you a $1,500 trade line, okay? Now, a good thing about it, they're giving you a $1,500 trade line on your credit file. When you have negative items, having as many open revolving accounts that are showing up as a positive trade line, I would tell you the key to this is try to make sure that you keep these things under, when it's an open revolving account, try to keep your accounts under 10%. So basically about 9% if possible, or if you're able to pay it off. Now, another key thing in terms of when you're going after revolving accounts like credit cards and stuff, when you utilize a credit card, if you pay it, some credit card lenders will let you pay on a daily to pay it back. Some credit card lenders will let you pay weekly. So if they're able to let you pay daily or weekly, pay on that balance as often as possible before the statement date, right? Because this is also going to help jumpstart your credit score. Now, I know we're still talking about the Navy Federal Pledge Loan, and I'm going to come back to it because there's one other thing that you all need to know that's very important that's going to help you. You have Opportune. All right, so Opportune offers a Visa credit card starting at about $300 too. And as you can see, it actually goes up to $1,000, right? And you don't have to have credit history. You don't have to have social for this. As you can see here, no credit history needed to apply. So that's the good thing about it. Now, one of the things about it with Opportune, they don't operate in every state, okay? So that's one thing you have to take into consideration. Now, another thing, say that you want a higher trade line. Now, this here is much better this is much better than Credit Strong. This is Tomo. The reason Tomo, because they offer you a charge card trade line up to $10,000. So what that charge card means is that whatever you use, you have to pay it back within that 30 days, right? So a charge card, you have to pay it back every month. But again, this is a fairly good trade line to actually add to your credit file because it puts a high limit on your credit file. Now, let's go Discover, okay? So Discover offers a secured card. Now, remember I told you with the end rewards after 6 payments are on time, it'll convert to this here card here, right? Now, here's the interesting thing about it. So that will give you the pledge loan and rewards. You have extra, so you'll get about 5 or 6 accounts, right? Now, here's another thing. Remember, you have challenging credit. So you're trying to build the credit up. Now, here's another thing. Say that with the money back from that pledge loan, with Navy Federal, you take that money and you put some of the money on the end rewards. So now you'll have that secured card, right? So that's 2 trade lines. Then you have these unsecured cards here. So you have multiple trade lines there. Now, all else you have is this Discover card. Now, why with the Discover It card? Because this Discover Secured card, they start reviewing your payments. They start reviewing your payment history after 7 months to become unsecured. That's the reason that you want to get this here. And you take the money that you use from the pledge loan and you can put it on this Discover It card. And again, after good on-time payments, they start looking at your payment history after 7 months to graduate it to a unsecured. All right. Now I'm going to make another video giving you a full list of the best unsecured cards that graduate in a shorter amount of time. There used to be a product on the market, but they went out of business. That definitely, like after 4 months, they would unsecure your credit card, but they don't have that product on the market anymore. But nonetheless, now you understand why starting with the Navy Federal Pledge Loan will give you the most leverage, because not only are you getting positive trade lines on your credit, but you're also boosting up your credit score. And like I said, this can actually happen within 30 to 45 days. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. Here's one other key that I want you all to understand. If you're using Credit Karma to manage your credit, here's the situation. If you have negative items, then you challenge those things through Credit Karma. Usually within 48 to 72 hours, those negative items will come off, right? However, keep in mind, most of your traditional lenders and stuff, they use FICO. They don't use a Vantage score. That's the reason. Vantage score will upgrade much faster or update much faster, meaning that when those negative items come off, your credit score can go up to a 680, 740 or something like that. But your FICO score hasn't changed. So when that happens, you actually have to start looking at Vantage scoring institutions. And so I'll make a new video, because I make videos about that, to take advantage of your Vantage 3, your Civil TransUnion, as well as your Vantage 4 scoring, so that way when you know that you have a high Vantage score, you'll know where to apply to in order to get funding. Now, if you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.